Greetings to all the aspirants present out there. This is Chandigarh Civil Services. Aspirants, we had already started one series that is of the Himachal Pradesh Administrative Examination of the Mains series. Jahan pe we had already covered your GS, that is your General Studies Paper 2, Unit 2nd and Subunit 3. Jahan pe we have already covered your various topics like your Right to Information Act, then comes to your governance, then 73rd and 74th amendment. तो जो भी आपका सिलेबस में दिया था, we are already covered, and we are at the last topic of your GS, that is your General Studies 2, Unit 2nd and Subunit 3. That is जो आपका topic है, that is your issues and challenges, programs and policies for the welfare of the differently able person, women and children in Himachal Pradesh. So this is the part 1 and this is the last topic of this GS2 subunit. Fine, subunit 2nd का जो है ये last topic है. All other जो भी आपके topics थे syllabus में specifically mentioned, we are already covered. So let's see कि exactly इस topic में क्या क्या चीजें जो हैं वो आपके मेंस के पर्सपेक्टिव से that is important. So yes, before we proceed ahead, very important, that is your introduction. So as the topic completely talking about your disability, so yes, बहुत important है. These are two important quotes related to your disability. So Stephen Hawking, fine, he said very beautiful thing, that is, my advice to other disabled people would be, concentrate on the things your disability does not prevent you doing well and do not regret the things interferes with. So yes, do not be disabled in spirit as well as physically. So that means this quote is telling you very, very optimistic attitude of the writer. And yes, next, which you can use in your essay writing or in your GS part, that is, disability is a matter of perception. So yes, exactly, it is a matter of perception. That means how we perceive the things. So if you can just do one thing well, you are needed by someone. So that means even if you are able to do just one thing well, that means you are important in the society. You can contribute to the society. So that means कि अगर आप एक चीज भी करने में सक्षम हैं, so that means you can contribute to the society. So that means disabled persons को there is a need for changing their perception, and yes, society also need there to change their perception also regarding the disabled. So yes, these two quotes are very important. So yes, let's see exactly what is the status before we proceed कि disability के regarding what are the things which is being done by your Himachal Pradesh government, क्या क्या चीजें की हैं. उससे पहले there must be a broad idea what is the status of the disability and disabled in India. So that means India में क्या क्या है, India किस चीज का signatory है at the national and yes at the international level also. So let's see, as per the census of 2011, so yes, जो आपका 2011 का census है, what exactly it is telling you that out of the 121 crore population, about 2.68 crore, fine, the person जो है, they are disabled. So that means it has a contribution of 2.21% of the total population. So that means 2.21% जो हमारी population है उसमें जो है आपके disabled हैं. And yes, जब मोदी जो है he keep on reiterating the same thing, that is of the inclusive development, that is the fruit of the development must be shared with each and every section of the society. तो यहाँ पे क्या है, जो in the era where the inclusive development is emphasized, so yes, as the right path towards the sustainable development, and yes, it also focused for the welfare of the disabled persons are essential. So yes, it is the one of the most important component of the inclusive development, जहाँ पे it focus towards your sustainable development, plus there is a need or the initiative for the welfare of the disabled persons are also essential. So how we can do the welfare of the disabled person? क्वेश्चन ये अराइज होता है. फाइन, सो वन ऑफ द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट प्रॉब्लम इज दिस कि आपको कैसे इसको टारगेट करना है. देखिए, वेन एवर एनी प्रॉब्लम इज कम इनटू, व्हाट वी डू, वी ट्राई टू फाइंड द व्हाट इज द प्रॉब्लम. सो इन द सिमिलर मैनर यहाँ पे भी क्या है, देयर इज द नीड, we have to what, we have to find out what is the exactly status of the person. So that means the socio demographic profile is one of the essential for the welfare of the disabled person. सो दैट मीन्स कि जो आपकी सोशल डेमोग्राफिक प्रोफाइल है उसके बारे में जानकारी होना बहुत ही जरूरी है. तो दैट मीन्स द इंफॉर्मेशन अबाउट द functional status. So that means what is the functional status? That means there is the need to identify the needs, since कि उनकी needs क्या है, since the two person, अगर दो person भी हैं with the same impairment, they may face the different types of the difficulties in undertaking certain activities. So that means कि दो disabled person में भी there is a variation. So there is the need कि हम targeted करें कि what is the exactly the need of the specific person. So that means there is a need कि यहाँ पे क्या है, everyone is having the different needs, and yes, that required a different kind of intervention. So that means ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए कि one size fit all. That means one thing must not be applicable to everyone. So that means कि जो different needs हैं that must be tackled, and for that there is a need for the socio demographic profile जो है उसके बारे में essential information होना बहुत important है. Fine. Next, let's see जो आपकी national policies है for the person with disability. So yes, India जो है that is also bring one policy specifically targeting your disability. Fine. तो जो national policy for the person with disabilities, that is of the 2006, it recognizes that the person with the disabilities, they are the valuable human resource. So that means yes, जैसे हमने स्टीवन हॉकिंग का ही देखा था कि even if you are able to do one particular thing in a very efficient manner, you have a contribution to the society. So that means they are also the valuable human resource. तो जो society का एक particular norm है कि they are considered just as a kind of the burden that need to be changed. And yes, and they also seeks to create the environment that provide equal opportunities, protection of their rights, and your full participation in the society. So that means what is important, जो हम equal rights की बात करते हैं, equal opportunities की बात करते हैं, that must also be served in the platter of your disabled person also. And yes, in order to facilitate this national objective, there is a need for the collection, then comes to your compilation and analysis of the data on disability. So that means socio demographic के बारे में, profile के बारे में पूरा analysis करके, data के बारे में, very very important, we must have the idea before jumping or before finding any kind of solution. And yes, these are the certain efforts which is being done at the national level. Along with this, जो आपका India है, that is also doing a certain kind of work and collaboration at the international level also. So yes, it is a signatory to the declaration of the full participation and the equality of the people with disability in the Asia Pacific region 2000. So that means he's also a signatory to this particular declaration also in the 2000. So that means it is specifically working in the Asia Pacific region. And yes, along with this, India has also ratified your UN Convention on the rights of the person with disability, that is of the 2008. So that means India is also signatory of it. Along with this, it is also the signatory to WIBACO, that is your Millennium Framework of the 2002. And yes, it is talking about there is a need for the collective action होना चाहिए जहाँ पे inclusive, then barrier free and right based society होनी चाहिए. That means everyone must be, there must be a what? ये right जो होने चाहिए, that must be given to the disabled person also. And yes, जो आपकी विवाकू आपकी +5 थी, which came into the existence in 2007. That further it also reiterate the same thing, that is your inclusivity, then your barrier free and the right based society. But yes, it is targeting on a specific region, that is of the Asia and Pacific. And yes, insurance strategy की जब हम बात करते हैं तो India is again a part of it. So yes, ये जो आपकी strategy है, what exactly it is telling you, तो यहाँ पे ये क्या बोल रहा है, to make the, very important, this line you can use, that is to make the right real. So that means जो बोलते हैं कि everyone is having the right to equality, opportunities होनी चाहिए, so that means it is exactly making your right in a real term. So yes, for the person with the disability, especially in your Asia and Pacific 2012. So yes, ये जो था आपकी strategy, this was the first set of regionally agreed disability inclusive development goal. So yes, these are the certain steps which is being taken by your India at the national and international level. Again, one of the most important, जिसके बारे में हमें सभी को पता है, that is your Sustainable Development Goals. So yes, Sustainable Development Goals of the 2015, that is again also pledges कि ये बोलता है कि leaving no one behind. So yes, यहाँ पे ये क्यों बोल रहा है? It recognized the dignity of the human being is fundamental, and the sustainable development goal जो है वो विश करता है that the to see the goals and the target जो है that must be met for all the nation and the people, for all the segment of society. So again, sustainable development goal में ये बोला जाता है कि everyone, there must not be any, even if it is India के level पे अगर disabled जो है that is just contributing around 2.21%, that must not be left behind. So that means whatever the development's fruit है, that must also be served in their platter also. They must be developed. Fine. So this is about, and yes, again, one more important international convention, that is your United Nations Convention on the Person with Disability. So yes, it was adopted on 13 December 2006 at the UN headquarters in the New York. And yes, it came into effect, very important, that is in the 3rd May 2008. So 2006 में it came into the existence and जो effect में आई थी वो 2008 में आई थी. And yes, ये जो आपका इसका purpose क्या है? To promote, defend and enforce the human right for all the person with disability. So that means it is just for the protection of the person who are living with the disabilities. And yes, one more important thing, that is your World Health Organization. So that means Stephen Hawking के साथ you can quote the example of the World Health Organization also, जहाँ पे he gave a very beautiful and very dynamic definition of the disability. So what exactly it is telling? Disability is a umbrella term, very important, covering impairment, activity limitation and the participation restriction. So that means if someone is living with a certain kind of the impairment or is unable to do a particular activity, and yes, there is a kind of the restriction in any kind of the participation, that person must be tagged as a disabled. Along with this, World Health Organization also said that it is not just a health problem. It is the complex phenomena, and yes, it is reflecting the interaction between the features of the person's body and yes, the features of the society in which he or she lives. So that means this is exactly telling you about the structure of the society, how that society is interacting with that particular person. So yes, it is a very complex phenomena. It is not exactly telling you about the certain health problem. So that means he has covered the definition in a very, very holistic manner. That means 360-degree definition about the disability. It is trying to fit every arena of the society. So very important. Next thing, the constitutional framework for the disabled in India. So yes, question arise hota hai ki if India is a signatory to the certain kind of your organization or signatory to various kind of the convention at the national and international level, क्या हमारे constitution में भी कुछ provision है? So yes, your answer is yes. There is. जो article 41 है of the DPSP's directive principles, it exactly telling you that the state shall make effective provision for securing a right to work, to education, and to public assistance in the cases of unemployment, old age, sickness with disablement within the limits of the economic capacity and development. So that means it is completely mentioned in your constitution also. Along with this, the 7th schedule, important, जो आपका 7th schedule है of the constitution, it specify the subject of the relief of the disabled and your unemployed. So that means in the constitution also, article 41 and the 7th schedule is also related to your disability. Along with this, the right of the person with the Disability Act 2016. So very important, जो आपका ये right to Disability Act 2016 था, that means it is replaces the person with disability, that is your equal opportunities, protection of the right and full participation act of 1995. So that means ये जो 2016 का act था, it has replaced your already existent in the law, that is your 1995 act को क्या है इसने replace किया था. And yes, when we're talking about this particular act, it has been defined the disability on a very dynamic concept. So that means यहाँ पे क्या है उसने बहुत ही dynamically क्या है disability को define किया है. So what exactly it is telling you? So this definition is very important. That is your person with the disability का क्या मतलब है in this particular act. So it is saying that it means a person, ऐसा पर्सन जहां पे कोई लॉन्ग टर्म फिजिकल या मेंटल, इंटेलेक्चुअल और सेंसरी इंपेयरमेंट है, which in interaction with the barriers hinders his full and effective participation in the society equally with the others. So that means अगर किसी भी तरह की फिजिकल है, मेंटल है, इंटेलेक्चुअल है या सेंसरी इंपेयरमेंट भी है जहां पे ही इज नॉट एबल टू पार्टिसिपेट in the society equally with the others, that person will be tagged as a person living with the disability. Along with this, the person with the benchmark disability. So yes, it has set the certain benchmark, that is your a person with not less than 40% of the specified disability, where the specified disability has not been defined in a measurable term, and it includes a person with a disability where specified disability has been defined in a measurable terms as certified by the certifying authority. So that means it has also defined the person usko hum benchmark disability, that means it must not be less than your 40%, that person also tagged as a disabled. Along with this, question आपका arise होता है कि is there any particular type of the certain kind of benefits which is being given to the disabled? So yes, पहली बात तो ये है, in this particular act the type of the disability has been increased. So earlier it was 7, it has increased to 21. So that means number of the people are coming under this ambit of this particular act. Along with this, there is a quantum of the reservation also. So yes, the person who are suffering from the disability from 3% से लेके अगर 4% तक है, then in the government job में क्या है उनको, there is a certain kind of reservation is also provided, and yes, from 3% to 5% in the higher education institute also. So that means whether it's a government job or higher education institutes, they are getting a certain, there is a quantum of the reservation for these people also. And yes, every child with the benchmark disability between the age group of 6 to 18 जो है उनके पास right है to the free education. And yes, यहाँ पे जो person who are living with the disability, they are having a national and the state fund. So that means एक exclusive fund जो है वो dedicate किया गया है जहाँ पे क्या है whatever the financial support जो उनको provide किया जाएगा, that will be provided. Along with this, special courts जो हैं that will also be designated in the each district to handle the cases जहाँ पे क्या है there is a certain kind of the violation also. That means not only it is providing a certain kind of the benefit, but yes, it is also keeping an eye whether those benefits are actually provided to the people or not. If somebody is suffering from any kind of the violation of the rights, then yes, special court जो है उनके लिए dedicate किए गए हैं. Along with this, जो ये new act है, that will bring our law in line with the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Person with Disability, to which India is signatory. So that means this is just to making in line with the United Nations National Convention of the Right with Persons with Disability. So that means this is about your right to act, Disability Act of the 2016, जहाँ पे क्या है that is keep on updating as per the needs. जैसे कि हमने देखा कि your disability जो है that has been increased 7 to 21 किया है. So that means it is bringing a lot of new disabilities also under it, ताकि जितना भी ambit है उसको enhance किया जाए. So this is about your just an introduction about the status of the disability at the national level. क्या क्या इंडिया ने इंटरनेशनल लेवल पे कोलैबोरेशन की है, क्या कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में कुछ पर्टिकुलर फ्रेमवर्क्स हैं रिलेटेड टू योर डिसेबिलिटी स्पेसिफिक, कौन सा पर्टिकुलर एक्ट है, फाइन, व्हाट आर द डिफरेंट डेफिनेशन व्हिच यू कैन यूज, फाइन. सो इन द नेक्स्ट वीडियो विल हैव द डिस्कशन about your disability, but specifically Himachal Pradesh related. See, whenever you are writing any answer, there is a need that there must be a clarity about what is the national status and what is at the Himachal Pradesh status, so that there is a holistic picture about that particular topic. So we had already covered your at the national level. So in the next video, we'll have the discussion of the disability in the Himachal Pradesh. Himachal Pradesh में भी कौन सा particular act है, क्या गवर्नमेंट ने different steps लिए हैं, what is the status, everything will have the discussion in the upcoming session. So this is all about today's session. So stay tuned and connected. Thank you.